Aastha. We are live on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And I'm looking forward to welcoming all of you on all these four platforms. This is our Sunday live. This time, the time has changed a bit because of certain commitments, the way they are. But I didn't want to miss it. Last Sunday, we couldn't have the live, and lives give me the maximum energy, so I said no, this time again there is something happening in the evening which I can't avoid. So I said, let me do it in the afternoon. Yes, so that's what it is, and here I am. So looking forward to welcoming all of you. Quickly join in on all these four platforms, and till the time I have all of you join in, those of you who are meeting me for the first time, I'm Aastha Tatia, an author and a happiness coach. And I help corporate leaders with their workplace relationship challenges and struggles. Okay. And the live show, Work on Workplace Relations with Aastha, is about diving deeper into your workplace challenges, what's holding you back, and delving a little deeper into how it's impacting you and what can you really do so that you can improve your work experience, because at the core of all work related challenges is your relationships at work. Now, whether you are a corporate executive, you're a professional, an entrepreneur, a business owner, whoever you are, in whatever capacity, whatever is the setup, we all struggle with these relationships. And that's where I think it's very, very fundamental. If you want to enjoy working, you want to really have work at peak productivity, each one of you, then I think relationships are very, very critical, right? So let's dive deep straight into the topic, which is checkout is more dangerous than walk out. Okay, now what does this mean, and what does it really imply? So I'm just gonna give me a second. Yes. Okay. Great. So as we talk, those of you who drop in, please quickly say a hi so that I know you are there, because there's no way for me to figure out whether you're there or not. I can't see you. So drop in a hi so that I can say a hi back. And also, whatever your queries are, whatever your thoughts are, perspectives are, anything that comes to your mind while you are here, or even if you watch this later, please feel free to drop that in the comment box. Yeah, would love to hear from you. That's what makes live live. Okay. Checkout is more dangerous than walk out. So I just want to split this into two in the organizational context. We talk about checkout, and then we talk about walkout. And then we talk about comparing both of these, right? So let's understand first what is a walkout. Okay. And when I say walk out, it could be the broad context is essentially people leaving your team, leaving your organization, quitting, all of that, right? And that's something we dread the most. I see, in whatever capacity that you are, you invest, you hire people, and you invest time, energy, resources into grooming them and bringing them to a level where you know you're then in sync and they represent you, and it's like a great chemistry that you look forward to, right? And then people walk out, people quit, people leave. Yeah. And that leaves you devastated, that leaves you wondering, oh God, what kind of a person is this? I was giving him everything, everything was just amazing, he couldn't have gotten such an environment, क्यों छोड़ के चला गया, and then you're constantly wondering. And I've had corporate executives, leaders there, and I've had entrepreneurs, business owners resonating with this equally, that yes, people leave us, and then that is a cause for concern, right? So, and what happens is, quite often we get into the mode of blaming. ये उसके साथ गड़बड़ था, वो इसलिए नहीं रुक पाया. This is what happens. Hi Vivek, welcome. Thank you for joining in. So that's where then people start to blame, and because you're wondering what possibly could have been the reason, then you try and figure out reasons, and you're just looking at that person, where he went wrong, what went wrong. So, one aspect that we often miss out on is, rather two, I would say, is that it's never a one way traffic. It's not one hand clapping, it's both ways. So, we miss out on the second aspect, which is you yourself, me myself. And the second thing, nothing happens instantly. Nothing happens in the spur of the moment. Nothing happens overnight. So, possibly, whatever led to him walking out or leaving or quitting is something that you didn't notice as a leader, or you missed out. You ignored, thinking it is too routine, it is not as big a deal, or you kind of took it for granted. Okay, and that's where we often lose out on assets as well. People who are really, really precious. You've spent time, effort, resources. At the same time, there are people who really have the potential and willingness to rise up and create what they want to create, right? But we miss out only because of those little things. And that's where I want to bring this one thing to your notice, which is called checkout. So, even more dangerous is you missing out that your people are checked out. And what does that mean? Checked out as in they are mentally not with you. And that, like I said, walkout doesn't happen in essay, it starts with checkout. And as a last resort, when people feel this is not working, not happening, they walk out. So let's now delve a little deeper into the checkout part of it. Now, when I say checkout, what does it really mean? It means that the person has come there, he's joined you, your team, for a couple of reasons. Of course, he wants to progress in career and he feels that this is the organization, these are the people I feel aligned to, I resonate with, and I want to be here and grow. Something clicks, and therefore he or she is there. Right now, when they start to do the work, when they start to work in the organization, and what happens is that alignment needs to be revisited. The alignment that this employee or team member of yours has with you in the beginning, which is why he joined you, that needs to be revisited. That vision needs to be recast. That mission needs to be recast, reinforced. What is it that they are up to? Are you recognizing them? Are you appreciating them, their role? Do they have the clarity? Any gaps, the fundamental is any gaps that could possibly be there, visible or not visible, need to be anticipated also, foreseen also, and addressed. How can that happen? Now, whether it is whatever mechanisms that are there, you having those regular meetings, team meetings, regular one-on-one conversations, you try and understand what's happening in their lives as a whole, because that one mistake that a lot of people do, no, 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 that's your personal life, keep it aside. But the person who's dealing with it is the same person. What he deals with at home, he brings that, carries that to the organization. And most of the people don't have the muscle to be able to park it. And that also can be a subsequent thing, but essentially being there for them, that's where, when things are not aligned, people start to mentally check out. People start to lose that alignment. Right, happens very, very subtle way, mildly, but starts to happen. May not be visible because people appear, they are there, but internally it has started to happen, which is more dangerous. And some people make it quite evident in their actions, in their behaviors, in maybe saying out loud also, which is still a better place to be in, because then okay, I need to address this, right? But the scenario where it's all silent, it's happening within, and one day you're in for a shock, if you want to escape that, then as much importance you give to your business, to your numbers, to your team rising up, to your clients, I would say maybe, if not much more, then at least double the importance has to be given to your internal customers, to your team, to your employees, to your partners, whatever, wherever you are, it has to be done, right? And when the checkout is not checked, it's not taken care of, people eventually walk out. And that's the time when you jump at them and you say, oh, I'll give you a pay increase, or I'll give you that promotion. Doesn't work. That's, I would say, a very, very superficial way of doing things. In the long term, it doesn't matter. It has to be incorporated right in the beginning. And sometimes people struggle because organization doesn't have the culture. To main kya karu? Got it. But can you bring that culture as a leader in your team? Can you bring that culture for your team, where maybe if you have four people in your team, can you start doing that with your team? Four people, you are investing energy into them, you are empowering them, you are building them into leaders, takes your time also. So you want to do that, but you want to ensure that you really build them up into people who don't want to leave you, right? You don't want them to leave. So how can that happen? That's where you are aware, conscious, mindful of the checkouts. And that will happen when you can create a space for your people to open up to you, when you are open to receiving feedbacks. Okay, you give them that space where, hey, talk to me. And a lot of times one big gap is, there is a gap in what you say and what you do. Okay, so you're saying something but doesn't match with your actions. Then people absorb that as well, doesn't go down well. हाँ बोला तो था, कहा तो था that you'll be standing with me every time you say that. But when it comes to actions, and let's say you say I want a feedback and I give you a feedback, you quickly get defensive, you start justifying. Well, no, can I just set those standards, and if I give a feedback and I expect the other person to receive it, accept it, and then see what we can do together, can I practice the same? And that's when you will get a real authentic picture that, this is where I'm stuck, I'm scared, I don't feel like coming to you, or I feel like coming to you but I think you don't have the time, or this is something that we are missing out on this one practice, if we can introduce, I think it'll be more beneficial. Right? If you can make them an equal stakeholder, not just clinically, like not just officially, but actually in demonstration, that hey, you're sitting in the meeting and I want you to be an equal stakeholder. You can have your systems and protocols that, okay, I'll be the one representing and speaking, and what platforms I can allow you to speak, that's one other thing. But if I need to speak, but I would always welcome you giving me inputs. If you think there's something we're missing out on, maybe you could pass me a chit, maybe you could give me a comment, because I value what you say. So just an example, that's an example. But when you make them an equal stakeholder, you make them valued, wanted, and everything that they say and do makes a difference. When you make them realize, because people want to grow, right? They want to express their potential, and if they are not able to express their potential, there's nothing that's more painful than not being able to express your potential, whatever be the reason. It's not about blaming somebody, but if you can only help them express their potential and grow in that sense, you can't even imagine the kind of wonders people create. So if you don't want to be taken aback, you don't want to be in for a shock, people walk out, you've got to be mindful of the checkouts. Mentally, where are my people? And if need be, have those one-on-one conversations, give them that space, let them open up to you, and let them like share a complete picture of where they stand today, what is it that they are looking at in coming days, or what are their aspirations, and where do they see that aligning with the organization, with the team, how you can support them. All of these things, there are various aspects to it, but the context has to be, are they checking out? If they are aligned here, I'm telling you, you need not fear. Unless there's an emergency, they're not going to walk out. And then you can always, that also gives you a space. When you have that connect and that space, it gives you an opportunity to be able to say to them what is working, what is not working. Otherwise you don't know how it's received by them, because one part of it is completely blank, no communication, and then one day you turn up and you say, hey, this doesn't work, this works. Or and all this while you've not even spoken about what do they feel, how is it going, what are their thoughts, are they aligned, how are they feeling, are they growing, how can you support? None of that has happened. So it doesn't go down well, right? And that's when walkouts happen. Yeah. So give them that space, check for the checkouts of your people, and that could include anybody, even if it's a business that you are into and you have your partners there. People struggle sometimes, that there's such a big gap between the partners in terms of communication and what is happening. You are nurturing the same baby. It's like your baby, four people there, three people there. How can you be on a different page? There are bound to be differences, and it's going to impact the growth of your organization. And that's where you then start leading. You don't even realize you start leading from a place of fear. Applies everywhere. And when you start to lead from fear, ये बोलूं या नहीं बोलूं, ये होगा या नहीं होगा, ये क्या सोच रहा है, ये मेरे साथ है या नहीं, is my team even standing with me, they don't come to me, they don't approach me, I don't know what's going on. Yeah. And suddenly, so you don't want to be in those spots. That impacts you as a leader, that impacts your team, they don't love it, that impacts your boss, your colleagues. It just impacts the whole thing. And such a huge amount of time that you're spending at your workplace, would you want to be disempowered? Would you want to lead from a place of fear? Is the question you need to ask yourself. And if the answer is no, then you need to start paying very close attention to these seemingly not important or trivial things. They may look very ordinary. ठीक है, I mean, I do talk, I have those meetings. No, I think the most successful leaders, the great leaders, so-called great leaders, are people who empower their people. This has been said many times. I'm not saying it for the first time. Who empower and who closely serve their people. When you do that, they are going to perform in a way you don't even have to bother, right? So just wanted to bring this to your notice that it's more dangerous when your people are checking out mentally and they are just operating mechanically, which happens over time. They're just finishing the chores, not bringing their potential. If your team is not thinking out of box, they are not contributing, they are considered checking out because they're not operating at their full potential. And if they're not expressing their potential, it's not sustainable. Over time, they will burn out. Over time, they'll get bored. And then criteria for them probably then becomes just money or jumping, getting a promotion, nothing worthwhile to hold them back, right? So just consider leaving you with some food for thought, and just think about it. I just say it's not something you can afford to ignore as part of your corporate journey or your work life. Yeah. Great. I just hope this was meaningful, made some sense, and you had your reflections and realizations as you listen to this now or later. And do let me know what was your takeaway. What is it that you're going to do differently? So I always say the one important thing is implementation. Otherwise, there's lots of all of this available across. But what's important is that one thing that you pick up, the smallest of it, and you start applying it, and then see, monitor, getting conscious, intentional about every action that you're taking. So I'm going to do this one thing from tomorrow. Let's say I'm going to have the one-on-one conversations with my people, and I'm going to bring a lot of intentionality to it. If you're going to do that, then creating the whole thing around it, creating the space, creating your context, seeing, working on possible distractions, what's going to hold me back, what can I do, and it will evolve with time. But I'm going to stay at it, I'm going to be at it no matter what, because then your people observe. They are watching you very, very closely. They are watching you, everybody, whether it's your boss, whether it's your colleague, whether it is your subordinates, your clients. People watch you. And it's not about मैंने उस एक मीटिंग में कितना अच्छा दिखाया, या how well did I receive them, or what did I say, or I smiled and I patted on their back. No, people are watching you in the most difficult moments. People are watching you in the times when they've committed blunders. So what is it that you're doing? Everywhere people are watching you, and that's where consistency is important. And that will come with your context being very, very clear, and you doing that much needed work on yourself. Yeah. Great. Thank you so much. I'm going to see you next Sunday, and the time is 8:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Today we met at 2 because, like I said, there were certain non-negotiable commitments, and this for me is equally non-negotiable, so I didn't want to miss it. Couldn't manage the time somewhere, so I said, let me do it at 2 p.m. Great. So see you at 8:30 p.m. Sundays, and look forward to having you all on these platforms: YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever comfortable. Do join in. Would love to hear from you, your inputs, your perspectives, your feedbacks, and any queries that you have. Do drop in. Lots of love to all of you, lots of happiness. Have a great, great week ahead. Action packed, amazing week ahead. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vivek. Thank you. Awesome. Bye bye.